The moment the cameras come back from commercial, something already feels different. The audience is clapping, but the energy in the room isn't the usual cheerful talk show vibe. Joy Behar leans slightly forward in her chair, smiling, but there's a sharp edge behind it. Across from her, Arnold Schwarzenegger sits relaxed, hands folded, but his eyes are focused, like he already knows the conversation is about to go somewhere unexpected. Quick heads up, subscribe to Backstory Uncovered, because what starts as a normal conversation here is about to take a turn no one expected. Joy glances toward the camera and then back to Arnold. "All right," she says, half laughing. "We're back with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Actor, former governor of California, bodybuilding legend. Basically a man who's done everything." The audience cheers again. Arnold nods politely. Thank you, thank you." Joy continues, flipping a card in her hand. "But Arnold, I have to ask you something that a lot of people have been talking about lately." Arnold raises an eyebrow slightly. "Oh." A few people in the audience laugh. Joy smirks. "You've been very vocal recently about discipline, hard work, and how people today complain too much. Some people online are saying that sounds a little out of touch." A murmur runs through the audience. Arnold leans back in his chair. "Out of touch." Joy shrugs dramatically. "Well, yeah. I mean, you came to America, became a superstar, a millionaire, a governor. Not exactly the average experience." Arnold nods slowly. "That's true." Joy jumps in quickly. "So when you say things like, stop whining and work harder, some people think you're ignoring how difficult life is for a lot of people today." The audience grows quiet. Arnold folds his hands again. "Let me ask you something, Joy." She smiles. "Go ahead." "When I came to America," Arnold says calmly, "I had an accent so thick people could barely understand me. I had $20 in my pocket. I slept in a tiny apartment with 2 other guys." Joy interrupts lightly. "But you also had Mr. Universe muscles." The audience laughs. Arnold chuckles. "Yes, that helped." He pauses. "But the point is, nobody rolled out a red carpet." Joy tilts her head. "Are you saying people today expect one?" Arnold shrugs. "Sometimes it sounds like it." The audience reacts with a mix of laughs and surprised murmurs. Joy lifts her hands defensively. "Wait a second, now hold on." Arnold smiles politely but doesn't back down. "You asked me the question." "I did," Joy says, leaning forward. "But what you're saying sounds a little harsh." Arnold's expression stays calm. "What's harsh about telling people they are capable of more?" Joy taps the table. "Because not everyone starts from the same place, Arnold." "Neither did I." There's a brief pause. The audience senses the tension now. Joy sighs. "Come on. You're Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're basically a walking success story." Arnold nods slowly. "Yes." Then he adds quietly, "But that story didn't start that way." Joy opens her mouth to respond, but Arnold continues. "You know what the difference is," he says. Joy crosses her arms slightly. "What?" Arnold leans forward just a little. "I never believed the people who told me it couldn't happen." A loud cheer breaks from part of the audience. Joy raises an eyebrow. "Okay, but let's be real here. Some people don't have the opportunities you had." Arnold nods again. "That may be true." Joy gestures as if she's made her point. "But," Arnold adds, holding up a finger, "opportunity is not something that arrives like pizza delivery." The audience bursts into laughter. Joy rolls her eyes dramatically. "Did you just compare success to pizza?" Arnold grins. "I'm saying you have to go out and get it." Joy leans back, clearly unconvinced. "But that sounds like you're blaming people who are struggling." Arnold's smile fades slightly. "I'm not blaming anyone." "Then what are you saying?" Joy presses. Arnold pauses for a moment, looking directly at her. The room goes unusually quiet for a daytime talk show. Then he says slowly, "I'm saying the worst thing you can tell people is that they are powerless." A few audience members clap immediately. Joy shakes her head. "But you're oversimplifying." Arnold cuts in, still calm but firmer now. No. I'm challenging it. Joy blinks, surprised by the interruption. The audience reacts with a mix of "oh" and nervous laughter. Joy leans forward again. "All right, Arnold," she says, her tone sharper now. "Let me challenge you right back." Arnold nods. "Please." Joy points her pen toward him. "If everything is just about hard work, then explain why so many hard-working people are still struggling." The question hangs in the air. Arnold sits still for a moment. The audience waits. And when he finally answers, the tone of the entire conversation changes. Arnold sits still for a moment after Joy's question. The studio goes unusually quiet. Even the audience, which had been reacting loudly just seconds ago, now seems to sense that the conversation has crossed into something more serious. Joy keeps her eyes locked on him. "If everything is just about hard work, then explain why so many hard-working people are still struggling." Arnold nods slowly. "That's a fair question." Joy leans back slightly, clearly expecting a debate now. Arnold folds his hands again. "Working hard is important. But working hard alone is not enough." A few people in the audience murmur. Joy tilts her head. "Oh, now you're changing the message." Arnold smiles faintly. "No. I'm expanding it." Joy gestures for him to continue. Arnold looks out at the audience briefly before answering. "When I say discipline and hard work, I'm also talking about mindset. The belief that you can improve your situation." Joy interrupts quickly. "But belief doesn't pay rent." The audience lets out a small wave of laughter. Arnold nods. "You're right. But belief decides whether you try again after failure, or whether you quit." Joy taps the table with her pen. "That still sounds like you're saying people who struggle just didn't try hard enough." Arnold shakes his head immediately. "No. I'm saying the system can be difficult." Joy raises her eyebrows, surprised. "Oh, now the system exists." The audience laughs again. Arnold chuckles. "Of course it exists." Then his tone becomes more serious. "But here is the problem, Joy." He leans forward slightly. "If you convince people that the system is impossible, then why would they even try?" The audience goes quiet again. Joy crosses her arms, thinking for a moment. "So your solution is just try harder?" Arnold shakes his head. "My solution is responsibility." Joy exhales through her nose. That word always shows up in these conversations. Arnold nods. "Because it matters." Joy leans forward again. "Responsibility for what?" Arnold answers without hesitation. "For the part of your life that you can control." The audience claps lightly. Joy glances toward them and smiles sarcastically. "Of course they like that." Arnold laughs. "But it's true." Joy points at him again. "But you're speaking from a very rare success story." Arnold shrugs. "Yes. And that makes it easy for you to say." Arnold pauses for a second. Then he says something that makes the entire room shift again. "You think success made it easier for me to say this." Joy watches him carefully. "But actually," Arnold continues, "failure taught me this." Joy frowns slightly. "Failure?" Arnold nods. "I failed many times." Joy raises an eyebrow. Most people wouldn't think of Arnold Schwarzenegger as someone who failed. Arnold smiles. "That's because they only see the movies." The audience laughs. "But before the movies," he continues, "Hollywood told me my accent was too strange. They said my name was too long. They said my body looked ridiculous." A few audience members react with surprised murmurs. Joy tilts her head. "That part's actually true." Arnold laughs loudly. "Yes, they said I looked like a cartoon character." The audience laughs again. "But if I believed them," Arnold says calmly, "I would have quit." Joy nods slowly, listening now rather than arguing. Arnold continues. "And if I quit, none of the other things would have happened." There's a quiet pause. Joy taps her pen again, but softer this time. "So what you're really saying," she says slowly, "is that people shouldn't let other people define their limits." Arnold nods once. "Exactly." Joy glances toward the audience. "Well," she says with a half-smile, "that's a more reasonable answer than 'stop whining.'" The audience laughs. Arnold grins. But "stop whining" is shorter. Joy shakes her head, trying not to laugh. Of course it is. The tension that had filled the room earlier begins to ease. Joy leans back in her chair. "You know," she says, "I still think your message can come across a little tough." Arnold nods. "Sometimes tough is necessary." Joy shrugs. "Or controversial." "Also true." The audience laughs again. Joy looks at him for a moment and then smiles. "Well, Arnold, whether people agree with you or not, you definitely woke this audience up today." The audience claps loudly. Arnold nods toward them. "That was the goal." Joy turns toward the camera. "And judging by the reaction here, I have a feeling people at home are going to have opinions about this one." Arnold laughs. Joy points playfully toward him one last time. "You started it." Arnold raises both hands. "You asked the question." The audience erupts with applause. Joy looks back at the camera with a grin. "All right, now we want to hear from you. Do you agree with Arnold, or do you think the conversation about success and struggle is more complicated than that?" She gestures toward the audience again as they continue clapping. Let us know what you think, and if you enjoyed this discussion, make sure to subscribe to Backstory Uncovered for more moments like this.